Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit more personal so you guys can get to know me, because I don't know me a little bit, because I don't think that I actually ever did a video like this. So basically I'm going to be talking about yeah, I'm gonna be talking about okay, so this is going to be kind of like a get to know me video. um, I'm going to be talking about how I told my parents that I was dropping, how I told my Nigerian parents that I was dropping out of college. So this is actually a very long story for me, and I think it's also very personal as well. But I don't know, I just felt like I should kind of share it because I don't know, I just felt like I should. Like, I felt like I needed to that for someone else, not because like yeah, I just felt like I just needed to just share my story and my journey just for someone else. You never know. Yeah, so let me rewind back to like high school, like graduating from high school and everything like that. So high school was like a little bit. That's probably for like another video, but I just want to start from high school because that's just where everything kind of like yeah. So I graduated from high school, but prior to graduating, like like how you're in high school, you're about to graduate, like you're applying for schools and all this other stuff, scholarships, all this random like time period, and you're working really hard and blah 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 and stuff like that. So yeah, so I already had like two major schools that I wanted to go to. Two major schools that I was like I wanted to go to, like, because like the way I did my list was I did like my dream schools, and then I had three schools in my dream schools, like schools that like I really wanted to get into. Like, it would be like a dream come true if I got into those schools, but like it was like everyone's dream to get into those schools. So those were more of like my Ivy League schools that I applied to. And then I applied to like normal range schools. These are schools that I know that they're really really good schools, and I know that I have the grades, the scores, and everything to get into. But I might not, if I get into those schools, I might not have like the money to pay for it. But these are the schools that are like really really good, and I really wanted to go to. And I had the last like three schools. My last three schools were schools that I applied to, that I knew that I'm definitely getting in. That like they need us there. Like, you get what I mean? Not to be like arrogant or anything like that, but like things that schools that that they need you there, and that they're going to give you full scholarship just for you to show up there and just for you to enroll there. So that's how I organized my school like application and stuff like that. So I had my dream schools, the school that I knew I was gonna like, my good school, like, oh, if I don't get accepted to my dream school, this is where I'll just like end up being, I'll still be good. And then I had like the schools that they're gonna give me a full ride, they're gonna offer me to come in, whatever. So I did that. So come into like that's not coming into, but senior year, like, you're hearing back from schools and stuff like that. So obviously the schools that you hear back from are like the bottom, like your safety schools, pretty much what I call them, your safety schools. The schools that they're like, oh, you're accepted, here's your full scholarship, here's what's gonna come with, blah blah blah, here's our deadline, stuff like that. So those were the schools that I heard from first. But in the back of my mind, like, those are like my safety schools, so I'm not really trying to go there. Like, they're in case of emergency. So then the next schools that I applied to, and then I heard back from the like my dream schools. So obviously I didn't get accepted to my dream schools, but it's whatever. I'll still be okay. But yeah, so the next schools that I was waiting for were like my okay schools. So, and these ones are the ones that take like a very long. I feel like they take a very long time to respond, because a lot of people also apply to them as well, but they're not as swift as Ivy League schools, and they're not as laid back as the safety schools. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah. So I had, was it three schools or two schools? I mean, I had three schools that were like my good schools, but I only actually wanted to go to two out of the three of them, right? So I'm not going to mention any school's name just because I don't want to be like, I don't want to add like biases or anything like that. Like, do what you want to do and stuff like that. So I got accepted to both schools, so I was really really happy because I knew that even if I didn't go to get into my dream schools, these are still really really good schools that I wanted to go to, and I knew that I would be good there. And then I was really really happy about that. But then the problem is that you have to pay because like you apply for fast fund financial aid and stuff like that, but unless you're and I think another thing that I forgot to mention I feel like is really important in this story is that I didn't, because like we had two different like houses and stuff. Let me okay, so it's a very long story. I don't know if I should give all of it, but because of the high school that I went to, let me just say this, because of the high school that I went to, because like when you apply to scholarships and you apply to financial aid, they're looking at the high school that you go to, and they're comparing you with other kids like in your area to determine like who needs aid and stuff like that. Like let's say for example, if you go to school in the county, and you apply for if you go to school in the county and you apply for certain scholarships or positions, stuff like that, they're comparing you among your like immediate classmates in that district zone, stuff like that. Whereas if you go to school in the city, they're comparing you amongst like other city kids to see like basic needs and everything like that, and like the area that you live in and stuff like that. So because we used to live in the city and I went to school in the city, I went to high school in the city. That was where when I'm applying for scholarships for these schools, like my good schools, they're comparing where I used to live versus like all the other students that used to live there and all the other students that go to school there. So when they're giving out financial aid, they're obviously going to give other kids who they feel like they need it more before they give it to me, if that makes sense. Versus like if I went to school in the county and I lived in the county, they would, if I applied for those same scholarships, those need-based scholarships, they would give it to like the need, like how do I explain it? So the need in one area, the level of need in one area, it could be like you could fall on a different range versus like in the city. So in the city, I was basically on the higher, like this person doesn't really like doesn't need anything compared to like other people that were in that area and in that school. So obviously when I'm applying for those good schools, those good schools, they don't really give, they don't really give scholarships based on, so they do have merit-based scholarships, but it wasn't really as hold on, let me try to explain this a bit better. Basically their merit-based scholarship would also tie into the need. Like, okay, so this person has really really good grades and they really really need it, so here they go, that kind of thing, right? So that's pretty much how those schools basically gave out their scholarships and stuff like that. So because like I had really really good grade, but compared to other people in my area and in my school, I didn't really need it. So I didn't really get like their merit/need-based scholarships. So I had to rely on obviously financial aid. So financial aid, everyone knows how that is. They're not really trying to help you out. So I mean, it's better than nothing, but I didn't really get anything from financial aid other than like loans and stuff. And basically for undergrad, I didn't really want to take out loans because I don't like, it's undergrad. Like if you're planning to go to graduate school or medical school, whatever the case may be, you're also going to need to take out loans as well. So I didn't want to like start bothering myself with loans and stuff when I felt like I was so early on or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, here's a school that I really really want to go to, that I felt like I worked really really hard for and I really really sacrificed everything for, but in order for me to go here I would need to take out a loan, versus this school where I already have a full scholarship. And my parents really wanted me to go to this school because one, I have a full scholarship. Two, it's an HBCU, so they feel like it'd be more of like a family, and you won't be like I don't know how to explain it. Like you're going to an HBCU, you have more support and stuff like that, versus going to this school that's not an HBCU that you really really want to go to. Yeah, so they were like, yeah, you should go with this option. So this is where everything kind of like went downhill, because in my heart, like I had already planned that if I go to this school, then these are all the different resources that they have, and these are all the different things that they would that I can utilize. And also because, oh sorry, I'm reading the message that yeah, so, and also because I felt like sorry, I was reading the message that popped up on my sorry text message. And also because so basically I had all my vision of what I wanted to do at this school, and all my plans and everything like that. And I felt like now I would have to make a choice, not based on my own vision or what I wanted to accomplish in my future and stuff. But now I felt like I had to make a decision based on, finances, based on money. Do you have money to go to this school or not? That kind of thing. That's basically what the decision came boiled down to. So obviously, I ended up settling for the school where I got a full scholarship, because I had a full scholarship. So I ended up going there. And prior to me going there, let me give you guys another. Prior to me going there, I had a good understanding that my major was chemistry. So I had a good understanding that regardless if I study chemistry at this school versus at this school, the curriculum is going to be like pretty much the same. Like chemistry doesn't really like the principles of chemistry remains the same regardless of what school you go to. But the only thing that's going to change is the people that you're going to come in contact with. That's the only difference between one school versus the other. The people that you're going to come in contact with, that's a major difference. And yeah, so I was like, okay, yeah, so I understand, and I really don't want to take out loans, but I have to give up what I really want because of money. So I ended up going to the other school, and mind you, this school, I'm only there because of money. I'm only there because of money. My other school, the other school that I was going to go to, all my friends are already gone. That's where everyone, all my friends are pretty much going. So I had to go to this. All my friends were pretty much going. I already had an idea of, oh, this is what I'm going to do, blah, 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 stuff like that. But this school, I'm only there because of money. So because that's the school that gave me money to that kind of thing, and because I'm studying chemistry. So when I went there, and I started school there, it kind of made it hard for me to kind of adjust because I felt like, why was I here? Do you get what I mean? I felt like, let me not say why was I here. I felt like nothing that I planned to do or nothing that I envisioned myself doing in the future was in this school. I was only there because that this is where I can afford to be at this time. And that really affected my stay there because it's like I felt like I was going through the motions. I felt like I had no purpose being there. I felt like let's say for example, right? I actually participated in a lot of things. Like I would go to class. I would go to class and everything. Like I remember when I first started, I would go to class and everything. But I felt like the classes that I was taking was very like, it was like, why am I even here? Like I've already taken all these classes. All these classes that I'm taking this semester, I've already taken them in the school that I went to. So I already had a good understanding. Matter of fact, I even felt that the high school that I went to taught it a lot better and was a lot more challenging than this. So I don't understand why I'm here. So it basically felt like I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting the only time that I have, the only time that I'm never going to get back to be here because I couldn't afford to be somewhere better. Right. So in my mind, it started to really affect me because that's when I really understood the power of money. Like that's when it really started to hit me. Like, dang, like if I don't have any money, like, if I don't have enough money, that this could drastically affect like the quality. Hold up. That this could drastically affect the quality of life that I end up living for the rest of my life because I'm always going to have to settle for something less than what I want or where I want to be. Like because of money, I'm always going to have to settle for something less than what I want or where I want to be. And I started to question everything. Like, is this really how the rest of my life is going to be? Like each time that I want something or each time that I try to go for something, what if, am I going to always have to base my decisions based on how much I have and what I don't have and everything like that? So that's how that whole, so my, that's how all of that started, like, kind of like, it made me feel like how, regardless, because I worked really, really hard um, in high school. Like, it wasn't easy to get into those schools that I got into. It wasn't. I had sacrificed my Saturdays. I remember I was in this program every single Saturday for, like, the train, like, for these, like, trainings and, like, stuff like that. And I remember every single summer I was always at an internship, and those internships were pretty much the reason why I even got into those schools to begin with, and the reason why I had those full scholarships to begin with, because those internships, um, provided me with, like, high quality recommendations and high quality experiences. So when I got to the school, the safety school that I'm in right now, everything that I'm learning during my first year, I've already learned and I've already done. So I was already an expert. I was kind of like an expert at it already. And I remember, like, being in my math class, and I'm literally teaching the class because the teacher that they hired didn't really understand how to explain it to an extent where other people who can explain it. Because when you're in college, right, when you're in college, like, especially when you go to, like, a safety school, like, you meet a lot of people that are coming out from different high schools, maybe people who barely made it out of high school, whatever the case may be, and here they are, trying to learn the basics, or trying to understand, like, something that's a little bit, like, more than where they're coming from, and the teacher couldn't explain it to them. Like, mind you, he's also new as well. He's not really like a new teacher, but, like, I felt like he wasn't really properly trained or anything like that. So they pretty much would just hire, in my opinion, that I hired anyone that would take whatever amount that they would pay them to come and teach our classes. And I felt that it was kind of unfair for me, because I felt as though that, like, times like this, mind you, like, I'm like 17-ish. I'm like around this time I'm like 17 years old. So I started to question, like, my value. It's like, dang, because of money, I get, like, these teachers that don't really, like, care to really educate you. That's number one. Or you get, like, teachers that are not really qualified, but because, they'll take whatever you're paying them, that they'll just show up to work. So that made me feel like I wasn't valued. Like, it starts to make you feel like you're not valued. And it started to make me feel like, regardless of how hard I worked, or what I did, or how much I sacrificed, that if I didn't have a certain amount of money, that I was always going to have to settle for something less than where I wanted to be or what I wanted. So that was the first thing that I kept, like, going through my mind all throughout my first year of high school. Not first year of high school, first year of college. And that made me feel, like, really bad, because it's like, dang, I'm never going to be able to be this age again. Like, you only get to live once. So I don't think it's fair for me to have to waste the little bit of time that I have, here, when I could have gone to a different school and learned something more advanced and more challenging, and learn, like, and acquired skills that were going to make me even more competitive and stuff. So that was the first part. So after that, like, I was like, you know what, but, let me not try to turn myself into a failure or anything like that. There has to be other options. So what I would do was that, using what I've learned from, like, the program that I was in high school, and just being in, like, the high school that I was from, I would try to initiate my own resources and stuff. So I used to work in a research lab when I was in high school, from, like, my sophomore year of high school. So I was like, okay, let me look for research labs to work in on campus. The research labs were, compared to the ones that I used to work in, those research labs are kind of tragic. But at least whatever they had, like, I can still utilize these resources. And I would try to, so that's what I did my first year as a freshman. I would try to kind of, like, get myself engaged in resources and stuff. I would try to get myself involved in, like, resources and stuff, kind of like how I was doing in Nigeria, but not in Nigeria, but in high school, because that's what I've learned, and, I just wanted to keep myself, not really busy, but I want to keep, like, challenging myself and keep pushing myself, but still, like, it felt like, and it felt like I felt like it wasn't really the same. Like, I remember going to my department chair, and I remember telling her, like, this was before the end of freshman year. I remember telling her, this is my goals, this is what I want to accomplish. These are my goals, this is what I want to accomplish. And as a result, I would like to apply to this internship my freshman year, like after my freshman year of college, like this summer, like after my freshman year, I would like to like mind you, like when you're applying to internships, like let's say for example you want to be in the internship this summer after freshman year, you have to apply. Like I think applications open that like October, November of your first year freshman year. So around that first semester, I remember like saying, hey, this is the internships. These are some internships or that I'm looking to apply to, or do you have any internships that I can apply to, so that I can have an internship like once my first year is over. And I remember her saying that, oh, you're just a freshman, that, you should wait till after, your sophomore year to start applying to internships, because that's when they usually give internships to people, that, you're not really going to get anything, from these options after your freshman year. You have to wait till after your sophomore year. And initially I was kind of like, that doesn't really make any sense, because, coming from the program I'm coming from in high school, these were the kind of internships that I was doing back then. So if I need recommendations, I can go get recommendations from the people that I used to work with, or like that's not a problem. Or I can I was just trying to like make her understand that, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that it's impossible for them not to accept a freshman into an internship. I don't think it's impossible. Like it's possible. It might be rare, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't like at least try to apply or whatever. But basically she was saying, oh no, don't do that, don't apply, blah blah, stuff like that. That, instead of me applying to an internship after my freshman year, that I need to apply for one of these little programs that they had in the school to help people transition to doing internships, or transition into like doing internships and stuff like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, dang, this is really not fair, because of this, because I didn't have enough money to go to the school that I really wanted to go to, and because I'm going to, and I settled for this school. Now it feels like I'm about to, instead of me to get the positions that instead of me to be challenged, pretty much, I felt like the people here are trying to not really suppress, but like are trying to make me settle for something less than what I am. And I felt like they weren't doing it intentionally, but I felt like they didn't have the capacity to think on another level. Does that make sense? Or maybe they were so used to seeing people on a certain level that they didn't kind of like encourage people to reach for something beyond what they're used to, whatever the case may be. So they're convincing me to settle for something lower than where I wanted to be. Even if I didn't get accepted to those internships, I would rather apply, give it everything that I have, and not to get accepted, than to not even try at all, because you don't really know when you don't try. Like, you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well now, not only did I end up in a school not only am I in a school that I didn't want to be in because I couldn't afford to go somewhere else, not only am I getting professors that aren't really well versed in what they're teaching, but now I'm also getting department chairs. Now I also have to deal with a department chair who doesn't really like not really force, but who doesn't really encourage students who are like, thinking or dreaming on another level, to kind of like encourage and pursue them. And these were like complete contradictions or opposites from the high school that I was coming from. So the high school that I was coming from, they kind of encouraged us, the sky's your limit, go do this, you can do that. Like, they had us working in research labs. Like, I think my sophomore year of high school, I was working at Johns Hopkins. I was, I'm not supposed to mention names, and they were kind of like, they like literally like, you would say, oh, I think I can build a robot with X, Y, and Z that does X, Y, and Z. They'll be like, oh, Grace, how can we help assist you to make this possible? Blah blah blah, stuff like that. What do you need? Here you can apply for this and apply for that. Oh, here is this, or you can join this or do that. They'll give you all these resources, and here I am going to this school, and they're literally like shut. Instead of them to be like, oh, I don't feel like helping you out with it, but try and let me see, what they're like. Oh, don't even try it. Don't even do it. Don't even think about it because you won't get accepted. That's pretty much the vibe that I was getting. So that kind of made me feel like, dang, like, and the one thing that, let me just go backtrack a little bit. The one thing that made me really, really, be more consciously aware of these things was because, like, the middle school that I went to was kind of trash, like, literally, like, no resources. And then when I went to the high school that I went to, they had so many resources and stuff, and I vowed in my heart that I really, really, they had so many resources that that pushed me so far ahead to, like, where I wanted to be, that I literally vowed to never, like, go to a place that was, that lacked resources, because that kind of puts you back in terms of, like, education, in terms of, like, people that you're exposed to, because you'd be surprised, like, how just the people that you surround yourself with drastically change the way that you live your life, and, like, the resources that, or the things that like, just being in the high school that I was in, that drastically changed the way that I see the world, the things that I had access to, the experiences that I had, the amount of knowledge and education that I acquired. So now I'm going back to a school that's just like, duh. Like, do you get what I mean? So my whole existence there, like, my first year ends, and I was kind of like sad, like, dang, who knows what my other friends in these other schools are getting accustomed to, or getting, like, exposed to, and I'm here, like, literally, like, going down, like, literally, like, I'm not really doing anything with my time. No one is encouraging me to do anything useful with my time on the level that I want to be on. And if I really want to, try to do something meaningful with myself, like, I have to be the one to keep, like, pushing myself, because these people right here, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I have to be the one to keep pushing myself. So that kind of made me kind of sad a little bit. It made me really, really sad, and made me really, really not want to be there. But then I didn't want to transfer as well, because I felt like, no. The reason why I didn't transfer initially, because the thoughts didn't come to mind. Thought that really didn't come to mind. And plus, even if I did, it's still the issue of money. Like, where is the money? Where is the money? How are you going to pay for it? Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well, this kind of sucks. So I would like, but the thing about me is that, like, I refuse to accept that, this is it. Like, I refuse to there has to be some way. Like, there has to be some way of me being able to, live the life that I want to live, and fulfill the life that I'm trying to fulfill. There has to be some way to get it done, because, all these things that these people are telling me, like, this is madness. Because if I'm forever going to have to settle for something less than what I want because of money, then there's no point of me being alive. Do you get what I mean? Might as well just kill me, shoot me in the face, bury me, and don't worry about any of it. Pretty much that's how I felt, because it's not fair. I didn't think it was fair or right for me to have all these goals and aspirations, and knowing that, if I didn't have money, then it was never going to come to pass, regardless of how hard I worked or what I sacrificed. So if that's going to be the case, then there's no point in me being alive. So that was how everything, like, started twisting a little bit and started going down.